you're going to do is take these herbs. What you're going to do is relax. You're going to do some spiritual work. These are just all messengers to say, hey, pay attention to what's out of alignment. So anytime you see anything, it's always just a messenger of what might be out of alignment.
So we got different glands that secrete different secretions. Every one of our emotions is tied to a gland. This is what the old Kemetic medical system taught.
Right.
Right. So all of the glands is responsible for um, running you through the emotion to help you resolve that energy. The secretions is there, right? So when I say, for instance, when you fall in love, what is going on in the body? Oxytocin production in male and female. You have a rapid dopamine rush in the system whenever the person is pulling on your heartstring. Then you produce what they call neuroepinephrine, and then you produce beta endorphin. That's the chemicals your brain produce as the love cocktail. The side effect or why it's doing this is because somebody is causing your mitochondria to say that's a match. Mitochondrial is responsible for powering your cells. And it's also responsible for translating the love energy into the cells. That's why you can look at a woman and she's like, oh girl, you in love. I can
Right.
look at you and tell, and she just be giggling. How you know, girl? How you know? I can tell it's written all over your face. I can see you.
Right.
Right? Dudes can't do that. We can't look at each other and be like, "Man, you in love." We don't do that. We can't
Right.
see it. But the woman see it instantly because she controls mitochondrial. When somebody's mitochondrial is moving, she recognizes it. Because she's looking for the opportunity to move somebody's mitochondria. I'm going to
That's
turn
true.
that shit up. I'm looking for me in the daytime with a
That's
flashlight.
true.
Right? So when the sisterhood get together, if you put three women in love in the same room, and can't nobody in there be mad, you can't be disappointed, you can't be angry. It just you can try. You come in, and then when them three sisters look at you and smile, you leave me alone. I can't even be fucking mad. Like it's that energy, that love energy, that mitochondrial secretion that cause, and it's also responsible for what we call the placebo effect of healing, which is the healing of anything that's wrong with us. Right. So when you talk about in the Bible when they say touch the hem of his garment, that's the queen of heaven and earth. It's the only one you can do that with because she's the only one that carry that much love. That's a whole lot of love energy that can touch the hem of their garment and be made whole. Right? That's a lot of mitochondrial output. But then watch what she say. Who touched me?
Right. Right.
How the fuck you know you touched your clothes, lady?
Your clothes.
How you know? Right? So that's
Right.
the thing right there that keeps that energy. That's how you know that the Christ ain't no man. Aside from going to
Right.
Greek and it's spelled IESOUS, that says ISIS all day long,
Right.
using the grammar key.
Right.
Aside along from that, the character, love your enemy.
No. Love, love.
It kill him with love. Let the love do it. Man, fuck that shit. I'm gonna beat that nigga ass. No, baby, you can't fight everybody. Everybody not worth you fighting.
That's
Wish
right.
them love and send them on their way and watch what life do to them because you can't match that shit.
That's right.
You can't match that shit. My mama made me forgive some people I did not want to forgive. I look at him now and I'm like, I'm glad I ain't killed that ratchet motherfucker because he done missed all that punishment. He done missed all
Right.
that punishment. I can see that
Yes.
shit now. Yep.
Right.
Pull your ass up by your bootstraps, nigga. You tried to motherfucking murder me and I let your ass go and look at you now.
Mm.
Look at you now. Look what life did to you 25
Right.
years, 30 years later. Life did some shit
Right.
to your ass that my revenge could have never did. You can't be a dirty motherfucker and that shit sustain you. It's gonna
That's
tear you
right.
down. And the only people I ever had any malice toward been some dirty motherfuckers.
Right.
That's it. I don't have no malice toward nobody that ain't doing nothing to me. Or the people I love. I don't
Right.
got no malice. I don't walk around. Even the people I be mad at when they ain't around, I don't feel a drop of anger.
That's so
Ain't no
beautiful.
anger there. But when I see them, oh, I remember. Motherfucker, I was mad at you. But look what life
Yeah,
did to you. I ain't even mad no more.
right. You
You
ain't have
know,
to do
that's
nothing. You just freaking
like, look, I used to tell dudes in the street, let him live. Life gonna do something to him that your bullet can't never
yeah,
do.
that's true.
And life will kick your motherfucking the balls quick.
Yes, yes. And I've been seeing a lot of that come quickly, that karmic cycle. I've been seeing it like people catching it. Like in this season we're in, I don't know what's going on or how the stars are aligned, but I've been seeing that thing come quick, quick, quick. And I'm like, ooh, I'm
You
so
think
glad I'm
it's
out of it. Ooh, I'm so glad
you,
I'm out of work.
you think it's been coming quick? Wait till Tuesday.
Oh,
Motherfuckers gonna
Tuesday.
get instant karma.
Ooh, no.
Soon as they start close, because they started the close of this Haitian revolutionary conjure Saturday, right? The first ritual be
Wow.
done. The first ritual be done Monday, and then that
Yeah.
24-hour turnaround on that energy come Tuesday. A whole bunch of motherfuckers gonna be getting instant karma, and a whole lot of
Wow.
motherfuckers, Mother Nature finna turn off their brain and their heart.
You know what? That's funny you say that because my father, he's Haitian. I had asked him about it a year ago. I said, "What's up?" I feel like something about the something, and he's like, "Oh, you know." And I said, "What about this kind of show?" That's one of the questions I had for you about how that conjure and that ritual is about to go down, how it's going to impact indigenous people, or how. Let me not say that. Let me say people who have been working on themselves, people who have been in alignment, versus those who've not been. Like, how will we be able to know the impact of this thing?
You're gonna be able to feel it, especially the
Mm.
sisters, because it's the return of the sweet water comes on the
Uh
heels.
huh.
So there was a priestess who gave her life, volunteered to sacrifice herself for us to be victorious in our war.
Indeed.
And then there's another priestess who was officiating, and it was a general in the military, and they needed a root worker. So they called in a guy from Jamaica. They called the Bookman.
Mm-hmm.
Duddy Bookman came from Jamaica. I didn't notice at first, right? I didn't notice at first. I thought
Hmm.
he was Haitian like Tucson. He wasn't. He was
Right.
from Jamaica. They sent for him. Now, the reason that it's still open is because every time the priesthood of Haiti was infiltrated by dirty Moors. They look like
Okay.
us, but they out for the money. They not trying to get nobody. What we really use the voodoo and the hoodoo for, we really use it for healing more than anything else and defensive magic, right?
Right. Right. Absolutely.
Well, they didn't want to close the conjure because as long as that
Hmm.
conjure was open, Haiti could suffer. The only one that appeased the
Right.
gods correctly was the one that we call Papa Doc. Papa
Mm.
Doc, if you go back and look at him, he used to paint his face with the white paint.
Mm.
That's the war paint, right? And he used to
Mm.
dress up like the Baron with the top hat and the long coat. Right. That's because he was kissing the god's ass literally to that's why he stayed in power so long.
So long.
Right? And he
Right.
could have increased the people's comfort in Haiti, but there's only so much you can do when a war conjure is open. You can't have a war conjure open and Oshun be present. That's not gonna happen. And Oshun
Right.
is
Right.
over the wealth and the sustenance of a people. So until that conjure closed, so since it was already open, when they called the 200-year conjure war in America, they sent Haitians to Florida.
Mm.
Everybody did. Jamaica sent them. You go down there, all you gotta do is look. They all on the land. That's because
Mm.
tribes came as far away as the Polynesian islands, the Tonga, the islands from Alaska, right? So every tribe sent somebody. That's why the majority of the people is condensed in that part of the land. We don't
Right.
like to live on top of each other like
Right. Uh, right. Right.
yeah, I had a call. I had a call coming in, but I'm trying to finish this class first. Yeah,
Oh.
but we didn't live like that. So when they
Right.
all came in, right, um, all of this made the war conjure have to be closed in Florida. The irony
Okay.
of it is the bookman had reached out to me. I didn't know it was him. I couldn't see him unless the priestess who officiated showed him showed me who it was. The priestess who was sacrificed live in Florida. The bookman is in Florida, right?
I heard you say
Tu-
that. Hmm.
Tucson is making he's closer to Florida than he was born in Chicago, right?
Wow.
That's
Okay.
crazy because they say Chicago was settled by a Haitian
I heard
named
that.
Jean Baptiste du Sable, right? Which means John the Black Baptist in English. But Chicago been a
Mm-hmm.
metropolis for us. That ain't new. That's not a new city. New York not new. The metropolises of aged old times and the energy centers, all of the major cities, right? So
Right.
when they all down there now to close the conjure, and I couldn't see the bookman until I seen the priestess who flipped the bookman, and I was like, holy shit! I was reading the lapis lazuli piece he sent me, right? And it was something that I couldn't see and I didn't know what it was. But soon as she flipped them to me, I looked at it and immediately know what it was. Right? So that changes everything. So they begin the closing of the
Right.
contract, right? When he adjourned the court in the matter of Toussaint Louverture in the Haitian Revolution, right? He's the one who officiated as the high priest over the ceremony. So he has to be the one
Mm-hmm.
close it. Everybody who opened the conjure, they have to come close it.
Mm. Wow. Okay. So that's good. So we can be anticipating a shift. For some of us, should be able to feel this shift happening starting Tuesdays. What you're saying, correct?
Hmm.
Okay.
You
That's
might
that's
start
that's
feeling
good.
it over the weekend because leading up to it, once I put the pieces together, I be getting messages so fast and so hard I can't keep up. And I'm a bad motherfucker with keeping up with messengers.
Right.
They've been coming
Right.
in hot and heavy because it's
Wow.
like moving to a singularity. So all that information is being funneled and I'm catching it. Boy, am I catching it.
Wow. Wow. Good thing. And as you catch it, you're sharing it with us, right?
Oh
So
yeah,
you're
I,
helping
I
us
ain't
to
got
be
no
aware.
problem with. I ain't got no problem with that.
Thank you. Thank you. Much appreciated. I mean, this helped me so much. So I got to thank you for that. And that answered my question. One of my last questions is this thing. So like I said, we're here in Mexico, and I've seen a lot of similarities in the people here, the culture here that I've seen in New Orleans, that I've seen in Atlanta. And one of the ways I'm able to see this is through like the ironworks that's on the doors and on the windows. I have a book here, the Ndinkra Dictionary. I have this book here. And so I've highlighted some of the ones that I've been seeing here in Mexico. And I'm curious if you have any thoughts on what this made, like some of these symbols that we see in masonry, that we can see that
Butterfly.
in, someone your auntie's house, your grandmother's house, and what it speaks about the people and how we move, and how the parts of culture have been transmitted throughout the. I even see this in New Jersey and New York,
Yeah.
and so I'm just curious, what is that thing by the door and by the windows of this ironworks that I see all over the places I've been around the world?
Ogun protection. Anything that's made out of iron is a protection, is Ogun protecting.
Hmm.
And because he's over the iron and he's the one that come bust that motherfucking sledgehammer upside a hard headed motherfucker ass like me.
Right,
Yeah, he the one when we get out of line and the war is still in place, he is the harsh taskmaster to keep us all on task. And you don't mess with the
right,
ones who honor Ogun. Well, really, none of the Orisha, they
right,
still honor their ancestors because that's all they is our ancestors. We just reading
right,
them as the energy signature that came down through the lineage, right?
right, right.
So when we honor that, we begin to see how to clear up our generational curses. But that's the Ogun, that's
Mm.
Ogun's children that you seeing with all of the ironworks.
Okay, okay, awesome. Okay, wonderful. And my second to last question, I promise this is the last one. I have a lot of people who come to us with children with, we talked about speech and talking, and they want to cut their palate. I guess they call it the palate surgery. I'm not sure, but like tongue tie and things like that. I'm curious your thoughts on that in light of how we talked about how we should parent our children. Just a sidebar. If that's something that we should look into so that our children can speak, or that's something that normally goes away, or just your feedback on that would be great.
Well, you got different speech impediments, and some of the speech impediments, most of them will fade with what we call basic speech therapy, right? But that's because the English language is so foreign to some of the old souls returning that they have a
Mm,
difficult time enunciating the words.
I see.
Do we
Yeah.
we used to speak when we first started speaking, went from telepathy as our primary communication tool to the spoken word, right? To use it as an art form. That's what we made. That's why we created written language and spoken language for artistic purposes, like singing
Right.
and like writing music,
Yes.
right? So this is why we created the verbal language, and some of us they can recognize the old tones from like um, Nuwapic.
Hmm.
Some of the ones with learning disabilities learn Nuwapic at an accelerated rate to how fast they learn English. English is a
Yes. Yes.
confusing language to learn, and any foreigner that learned English as a secondary language will tell you if they learned any languages more than English, English was the hardest one to learn.
That's true. Hmm.
It's not a natural language, it's a language of division.
I would agree. In fact, I was talking to the driver, taxi driver today, and we were talking in Spanish. Like, oh, where did you learn? I told him, places I've been, and how you talked about how English is almost. He said it's almost so. It's not smooth. It's jagged. It's like it's very. I don't know the word. Whereas other languages they flow. You have many words to describe an aspect of one thing. Whereas in English, it could be kind of difficult to find words to really express heart sentiments, feelings. And so it was quite interesting you say that because a taxi driver and I were talking about that and how my son, he's 3, and he prefers Spanish. He prefers Spanish and our indigenous languages over English. And English he's kind of taking his time with, but it makes perfect sense what you're saying. Some souls come down and come in with this ability to connect and speak in ancient tongues. I was one as a child as well. So I love that you said that. It looks like in the chat, a lot of people are agreeing with that.
Yeah, so that's very critical to our learning process of linguistics, language, understanding of the patterns of language and how they affect the neurology. You was looking for a
Right.
way to describe English with the jagged. That's because it's military, regimented. It's regimented,
Right.
right?
Right.
So when it is a byproduct of causing the languages to be divided into multiple
Mm.
languages.
Enough more recently. Um, because I know that you've spoken with Taj and you all have had work together on lives together and talk. And so Taj and Lamont, they all are about still filing the paperwork, and I understand why. But you say forget it altogether. But the thing is, though, I'm most concerned about too is the kidnapping and the quo warranto because that's important because these niggas don't play fair. Excuse my
Mhm.
French. They never have,
Yeah, they broke
you
every one
know.
of the rules. We followed them, they broke them, and we still won. Stupid asses.
Right. So my thing is, if you all are doing everything right, you telling them, just giving them the rundown, just the nation I'm a part of, consular jurisdiction, blah blah blah, or you just say you indigenous, right? You just give them the goddamn American Declaration for Indigenous Rights or United Nations, and you stand on your square, and you just give it to them. That don't prevent them niggas from kidnapping you still. And so
Right. So
with the
look, this is what the issue is with that right now, so that
hmm
everybody clear.
yeah,
Until we exercise our governmental powers to reclaim the land, they still in power,
yeah, yeah,
right? So we had to go through a process to take them out of power called the redemption process. And so,
mm,
in going through the process, somebody had to learn civics to know how to assert jurisdiction and override the de facto corporation. And once that's done, then they begin to close the de facto corporation and move to the continuity of government program. And that's
yeah,
where they start going through the Indigenous Rights Act and all of the things that we reclaim in jurisdiction of, all of that's taking place in real time in Raven Rock, Colorado. So once we close
Yeah.
the Haitian Conjure up, which should be the end of, which should be next week sometime. Soon as the third day of the bookmen adjourning the court on the Haitian Conjure and calling forth the Sweetwater for Oshun to return, soon as that happens, the shit gonna take off so fucking fast that motherfuckers gonna be like, "What the fuck just happened?"
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you answering that question because you know, recently I had been kidnapped by the pigs, and so that didn't stop nobody. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
so
Because they don't respect any of our rights. They said that
they
in the
don't.
Dred Scott case.
They don't.
Right. So, um, jurisdiction challenges, like how he had said, can be made orally. The challenge to the jurisdiction is there is a document. It's kind of I'm gonna tell you the name of it in a minute, but it gives the jurisdiction or it gives the power to prosecute from the executive branch.
Mm-hmm.
No, from the legislative branch to the executive branch. They never had that paper. So it's a statement of jurisdiction. So when you're challenging the jurisdiction, this is for the court case, but you still gonna encounter the motherfucking pigs on the street,
Right.
right?
Right.
So when you encounter them, until we in power, them motherfuckers still is in power,
Mm-hmm.
right? So